So again, good afternoon to all of you. And to continue with our reporting, let's hear from the report of ACE. So this is about 20 minutes. So um, yeah, a bit, this is a bit, medyo tayo ako sa, ay, okay, anyway. Ay, ganun pa din siya. Okay, so maybe we will start.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. Our report is all about techno-managerial study on vermicomposting technology utilization and its impact on the poor business function of selected user in Laguna. Introduction. Vermiculture, or science of breeding and raising earthworms, was introduced in the Philippines in the late 1970s and gained popularity in 1980s. It started when Dr. Rafael D. Guerrero, the executive director of PCAMRD, became interested with the technology because of the needs for alternative high protein feeds for fish. In the 1980s, the dissemination of the technology was focused on boosting worm production, basically for fish meal. However, the cost of worm was still too high to become too expensive as feeds for the fishermen and hatchery owners, because during that time the cost of commercial feeds was still comparatively low. The vermiculture breeding was I first invented kasi ma'am kaning for the food for fish. Then suddenly the scientists discovered that the waste of the worm can be used as fertilizer for the plants, so that the plants were grow healthy and gain more fruits. Yan ma'am. Next, the nature of study and methodology. This paper is basically a techno-managerial assessment study, which was conducted taking into consideration and technology transfer and acceptance and internationalization process viewed within the perspective of the process involving the source of the technology, the channel, and the receiver. Objectives of the study. General objectives to assess the current situation of vermicompost use and its impact on the operation of the user. Specific objectives. Number 1. To identify and describe the method of vermicomposting. Next, objectives of the study. General objectives to assess the current situation of vermicomposting use and its impact on the operation of the user. Specific objectives. Number 1. To identify and describe the method of vermicomposting. First, before we start vermiculture, we need to know the advantage and disadvantage of this kind of method. And the advantage of this, one of the advantage of this is to gain more fertilizer for the plants, so that we harvest more. Then number 2, describe the process involved in the adoption of vermicomposting. We need to this kind of we need to describe the process involved in the adoption of sometimes we do number 3 to assess the impact of vermicompost use in the four business function: production, marketing, personnel, and finance. First function, we need to know the function of having a vermiculture, like what 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 can we gain from this project. Next is production. Production means we need to know where kung saan tayo kukuha ng mga ng mga worm to start like we say farm of vermi. Then marketing means to market where kung saan natin ibebenta yung mga pataba. Then next sa personnel, we need to hire personnel so that meron tayong ano ba meron tayong katulong sa paggawa ng lalagyan ng mga worms natin. Then finance, syempre meron namang finance talaga, kasi kung walang finance hindi tayo makakagawa agad. So pinakauna talaga, before we start this business, we need to gain more financing ba, para may pambili tayo ng mga gamit. Then yeah, number 4, to present recommendations on how to improve the current practice of vermicompost utilization. Yeah, we need to study on what we have, like kung mag vermiculture is also a business. Then we need to study kung paano tayo makaka-gain ng more makaginansya dako. Then we need to improve our business, like kung in the first place, kung gamay pa ang atong vermi, then suddenly ni boom dahil siya, then we need to find more places, area na mabutangan mo vermi. And that's all, ma'am. Thank you.
Next is Respondent of Sampling. The respondent of the study were representative from the BPI, PCAMP RD, and PBSP CTRD, including the technology in the province of Laguna. Through purposive sampling, 7 individual users were identified. Okay, the next is research design. Profile of institution involved in the technology. Dissemination will ask the adapter of the technology the process pertaining to the dissemination method and the vermicomposting process were presented using the descriptive research design. Evaluative research design was applied to determine the effect and or impact of the technology and its end product utilization on the core business function of the technology adapters. Okay, the next is sources and method of data collection. Primary data obtained through personal interviews of the personal representative of each institution as technology disseminators regarding the reform of method of technology extension. The same procedure was also employed for the technology adapters, considering the change in their operation with the inclusion of the vermicomposting process impact on the four business function of vermicompost use was evaluated through the users.
Scope and limitation of the study. The study covered the four adopters in the three different municipalities of Laguna and one respondents from each of the three institutions such as BPI, PCAMRD, and CRTD, which were involved in the disseminations and utilization of the technology. Summary of findings. Profile of the respondents. There were 7 vermicompost users interviewed. Out of the 7, about 57.14% were individual users and 42.86% were institutional users such as CTRD, PCAMRD, and BPI. Methods of data analysis. Qualitative data analysis was applied using the respondents' experiences, suggestions, and comments regarding the use of vermicomposting technology. Analysis was made on a situational basis or per case evaluation batch. Frequency analysis was also applied for the distribution of the attribute of the respondents.
So, institutional respondents. BPI and Vermi Action Center under the supervision of PCA NRD were both government institutional operating for 11 years and 7 months, respectively, while CTRD is non-government organizations that had been existent for 26 years. And the individual respondents. There were 4 individual respondents who were married with 3 to 6 dependents, all above 45 years old, well educated, and college degree holders, with one pursuing PhD degree. Table 1. Profile of the individual vermicomposting users. O, ilalagay ko po yung yung table dito po. Vermicomposting characteristics. Table 2 shows that out of 7 respondents, approximately 42.86% were using vermicompost in their farms for less than a year. On the other hand, about 28.57% were using the technology for about 1 to 2 years, and about 28.57% were using for it for about 3 to 4 years. Vermicomposting practice of operation. It was found that all the respondents produced vermicompost for their own farm consumption. They used vermicompost in the farm in combination with organic fertilizers. In terms of level of operation, majority, or 71.43%, were classified as medium-scale type of those that the pig pen type of production space, where the compost was eventually scattered with thickness of about 3 to 4 inches, containing 10 to 50 kilograms of worms. Only 1 or 14.29% can be classified as small scale, or those with less amounts of worms. With only 1 to 10 kilograms of worms, there was only one large scale producer. Vermicompost production and utilization. Based on the survey, all of the respondents produced vermicompost solely for their own fertilizer needs. However, the farm owners did not rely on it solely. As shown in Table 4, they will still utilizing inorganic fertilizers in combination with the vermicompost, with crop utilization merely at a low of 12.5% to a high of 50%. Sources of vermicomposting information. Table 5 shows that most of farmer respondents revealed that they commonly acquired their knowledge on vermicomposting through seminar training sessions. Knowledge was likewise obtained through pamphlets, brochures, and friends or referrals. Factors affecting adaptation of vermicomposting. The most important factors that affect the adoption of the technology as shown in Table 6 were identified as follows. Vermicomposting information and dissemination. The three institutions which actively involved in the dissemination of vermicomposting were PCAMRB, BPI, and CTRD. BPI started its vermiculture project in 1994 through the invitation of Dr. Guerrero of PCAMRD. During the initial implement of the project, BPI conducted studies on the effectiveness of vermicompost as an organic fertilizer for vegetables. This was later followed by evaluation of different substrates combination and identification of the best combination of waste in terms of higher nutrient contents. After the conclusion of evaluation studies, the agency pursued the dissemination of technology to its target clients. Dissemination of the technology is done through lectures, seminar, and on-the-job training, which were held at the BPI compound upon the request of visitors and other interested parties. However, it was noted that due to the lack of resources at BPI, there is no active campaign for its dissemination.
Conclusion and recommendations. The technology was developed, tried and disseminated by three institutions, namely PCAM-RD, VPI, and CTRD. The technology adapters found vermicomposting technology to effective in terms of increasing the yield and reducing the production cost through the reduction in the cost of the chemical fertilizer inputs. Production of vermicompost showed bright opportunity as a business venture, though its full adoption is not in full swing in view of limited crop utilization and lack of sustained technology dissemination. It is there recommended that there should be extensive dissemination of the technology to the farmers and improvement on the provision of technical, financial, and marketing support from the private sector and the government. For me, the conclusions and recommendations speaks about business and technology. Uh, they will combine as one to uh, para magkaroon ng malakas na engagement sa business. So findings reveal that the biggest challenges to adapting the use of new technologies were hardware incompatibility, complexity, language barriers, the lack of electricity, computers, internet access, and a practice for trainees, and the inability to understand the advantages of this technology.
Cost-based pricing focuses on the company's situation when determining price in contrast value-based pricing focuses on the customers when determining price. A value-based pricing company develops a means by which to calculate the potential value their product of or service may bring customers prices accordingly. Area for further study. A potential area for further study is improving the technology further for adoption by medium to large scale farmer entrepreneurs. This may be improve the supply, the distribution for the product among farmers and help improve its acceptance by farmers. In reality, as what I have understand to this statement, uh, it will speak to each one of us that the technology nowadays is our life, uh, especially especially when it comes of business aspect. uh, technology technology is in need of everybody. Technology is a routine routine process of every farmers and every businessman. So technology itself is use of the private sectors and the government, because we are now uh, we are now making more innovations when it comes of technologies to help in our business.
Okay, so I guess that's it. No, and um, siguro, sorry, you can hear me, no? So siguro overall, wait lang ha. Okay. So siguro overall lang is you did not, as a group, you did not introduce yourselves before you explain. But then it was clearly reported, although you just used by reporting by speaking, and also um, it would have been better with a presentation. But then I said your clear explanation have or is already enough now for us to understand the topic. In fact, it's also like something na like presenting by interviewing to the group, no? Or to such speakers. So okay lang din yung inyong presentation, and the more important is you clearly explain, no, especially to the concluding part. So with the use of the techno managerial study, no, in order to determine kung gaano ba kalawak na ang paggamit ng technology na ito, and so on, no? So do you have any questions before I throw questions to the reporter? Anyone have a question? Do you have any clarification to the reporters, to the group? Okay, if none, and then siguro only it's only Ram, no, who's here, and also I'm not sure if Ram can also clearly take the questions because of the internet connection. Anyways, we can actually anyone can actually just answer the questions. Kadali lang ha, i-check sa naka attendance. So as you have seen, clear naman yung methodology na gamit, no? All is done through qualitative approach, wherein the researcher were doing some research on vermicomposting, no, as the technology and its uses. So the objectives were clearly also stipulated. So this is the Philippine setting. So actually, you can adapt this kind of research if you want to, like sa paggamit ng vermicomposting, no? They just utilize interviews. So there were two types of interviews done, no, or data gathering. So what are those again? Ram or any of the group? Hello, Ram. Can you hear me? Or anyone can answer also as well. Okay, so if we go back to please take note that everyone in the group, in the Facebook group of our group, has a copy of this full report. So nandoon yan sa topics, no? You just search the techno-managerial study na topic, and then you'll be directed to the full paper. So as to the report, it would be the presentations by each reporter is through the video recording that we are having. So yun nga, going back to the question, they utilize qualitative research. So nag-interview sila. It's basically interview, but they done the the primary and the secondary data, no, doon sa mga agencies. So aside sa nag-interview sila, meron silang primary data wherein yung data na ito is done through interview. Yung secondary data naman kung ano lang yung available na nasa records ng mga bawat offices na in-interview nila. So and as to the conclusion and to the use of this specific technology, which is vermicomposting technology. So they found out actually na in their concluding part, yeah, but then si yung nag-report pala nung mga tables, no? I was amazed. Sino ba 'yon? Hindi kasi kayo nagpakilala. So but anyway, I can go back to the list of groups thing. So it was good that you presented in your video, nag-insert siya ng mga tables na 'yon. So that was interesting. And so to the conclusion, it they showed through their study na na-disseminate talaga itong vermicomposting. And in fact, makikita naman natin, no, that it's eventually through time nagamit natin, no, we were using vermicomposting, no, in our agencies, no, or in the community, but still they recommended that there's still a need para i-disseminate siya kasi it's not all, no. In fact, meron pa ding, especially yung wala pang alam tungkol sa vermicomposting, which is they can do, no, magawa sana sa farm, no. So I guess yun lang, and we still have 7 minutes if you have questions and clarification regarding our requirements as to, kasi I think the techno-managerial is the last topic for the reporting. I mean, it's not the last topic, but the second to the last topic, kasi the last topic is yung special studies, no? So special study or special topic pala. So many of na nag-individual, or I don't know, basig na group na pud mo at this point. So supposedly sila na yung especially si no, si say? I forgot. Basta there were like 3, I guess, na nag-individual. So for the next meeting, we're going to have the reports. If not, then I want to review on the statistical aspect of your of different qualitative studies. So ngayon pag-aralan naman natin yung, although I know you have done statistics already in your subject, tama ba ako, John Ray? Tapos na
Yes
kayo,
po, ma'am.
oo, tapos na kayo sa statistics, no?
Yes po, ma'am.
So do you think there's still a need na i-apply, or I mean to show you how these statistics were applied?
Yes po, ma'am. If ever, need niya po.
Okay, so I will be including that um, before tayo mag-start. So sino ba sa inyo ang ready now for their group proposal? Or so if in case you are ready now for your group proposal, then you may volunteer na to do the report, no? So anyway, we still have oh my god, November na maday, no? So we are supposed to start with our presentation by month of not later than December. So anyway, sa November pwede naman ta mag-start. So kailangan maka-start tayo not later than December. So as early as third or last week ng November, since we only have, I guess, 2 meetings sa December and we'll have January and we will end on February na. So kadali ra sa semester, no? And but then it's really very fruitful and I'm happy na marinig ko kayong lahat doing your part, and especially in the area of research. So again, if wala na tayong mga questions or clarifications, so that would be all. And I will see you again next meeting on Friday for if may mga reports pa na magpa-present. If not, then I will insert some statistics. So do we have questions or clarification? Anyone? Jacqueline? Yes, John Ray?
Yes, ma'am. Yang ma'am kanang most of my classmates mga good ma'am is kanang nang naayuban ma'am nga dili kanang wala gid sila makaagi bitag research since wala sila mag senior high. Then I thought some of them kanang nag-on sila nag-on ba nag-doubt ma'am ba unsa di ba ang research di ba ang research proposal magi ma'am kay tama naman gyud sa chapter 1 ma'am, no? Di basin ba og wala sila kabalo ma'am.
Kasing
Ana
nanay.
ra taman ana lang. Oo.
Yeah, I know.
Kay research proposal mo gulo niya wala sila makaagi senior high ma'am.
So maybe I will also give an example of a research proposal. Although hindi ko pa ba napakita sa inyo yung aking ginawang social research? Hindi, no? I guess not. Yeah, I guess not. So ipapakita ko sa inyo yung sample research ko. But I guess in one of my presentation nagbigay ako ng sample. But anyway, just let me know kung aling topic kayo, which proposal you have selected, so I can fit in talaga, kasi as I have said, ang daming types ng qualitative research, 'di ba? So sa qualitative research, iba-iba din yung kanyang specific na methods, no? Although lahat naman yan ay surveys and interviews lang, but then in terms of statistics and proposal, iba-iba din yan ang kanilang design. Like when you do the value chain analysis, no? Iba rin yun, medyo economic siya. And when you do the feasibility study or the case study, iba din. So I had to fit in. So let me know in advance through chat, and by also posting your group again for the project proposal. I-post nyo na sa group, and also your topic. So I will know in advance. No, and
Okay,
yeah. So thank you, John Ray. So we have 1 minute and less. Meron pang dagdag? Okay, so again, let me just remind you again for the next reporter, if possible, you can do the same, no? The same video presentation para hindi na tayo mahirapan mag, sa connection, mag-play, and so on. So, I guess yun lang.
Thank you po,
No?
ma'am.
Yeah, thank you very much. And have a nice day, everyone. Sige, okay. So, since wala na tayong, yeah, sige. Since wala na tayong tanong, so if ever may nakalimutan kayo, you can always chat me sa ating group chat. Sige, so bye-bye and see you again next time.